Welcome back to Off the Mark. I'm the Big Sarge. Today we're going to go over Rifle 101, Lesson 2. This time we're going to be covering dry firing your weapon, zeroing your weapon, and different positions with which to fire from, as well as different optics considerations should you so desire. Before we do anything though, let's go over the universal firearm safety rules. Number 1, we treat every weapon like it's loaded. Number 2, we never point anything that we don't intend to kill or destroy. Number 3, we keep the finger off the trigger until we're ready to, or until our sights are aligned on the target and the decision to fire has been made. Number 4, we always know what our target is as well as what's beyond our target. Next thing we're going to do before we begin doing any sort of training with our rifle is we're going to make sure our rifle is safe. So to do so, just like last time, we're going to drop the ammunition feeding device. I'm going to set it on this counter right here. Now that there is no ammunition feeding device, we're going to ensure that there is nothing in the chamber. I have a clear chamber, so my weapon is safe and ready to train with. So now we'll get started. Alright, so now that we are ready to get started, our weapon is safe and ready to train with, let's go over what we're actually planning on talking about today. So today we're going to be talking about dry firing and why that's very important for your training as well as finding your zero. Especially as a beginner, starting from zero, a firearms experience of any kind, dry firing will help you improve as well as develop your fundamental firearm handling skills more than any other time at the range, however many rounds you want to expend. Whatever it is, dry firing will save you money and time and give you much more improvement. Dry firing is a fantastic way to build your fundamentals and develop the skills in the comfort and safety of your own home and without spending any money, because you don't have to spend money on going to or time at the range. You don't got to spend money on ammo. You can do that in your living room like I am now. So let's go over what dry firing is. Dry firing is the act of squeezing the trigger, resulting in the hammer falling and the firing pin extending as if it was going to fire a round with no round in the chamber. So essentially, all dry firing is this. That's it. That's dry firing. Now, when you're dry firing, you're going to need to cycle the bolt manually because the recoil will not cycle the bolt. When you do so, that resets your trigger. So now we're going to talk about a couple other considerations that you need to know when you're getting ready to do this drill. When you are getting ready to begin dry firing, what you specifically want to be focusing on is finding your natural point of aim as well as your breathing control and trigger squeeze. When you are aiming a weapon in any scenario, your body has a natural point where it wants to aim that weapon based on whatever position you're in. And that'll be a different place for each different person based on their body mechanics. This is known as your natural point of aim. And one way to find your natural point of aim, which will make zeroing and dry firing much easier, is to get in your good, comfortable, stable position, ready the rifle as if you're going to fire, and then just close your eyes for 5 to 10 seconds. Your body will naturally adjust the rifle to your natural point of aim. When you're going to zero your rifle, what you want to do to make your life 10 times easier is find that natural point of aim and hold that natural point of aim over your target. So if you're having trouble figuring out your zero, just close your eyes, see where your target is in relation to your weapon when you open your eyes again, and then just adjust your body as needed so that the natural point of aim still has your rifle pointed at your target. Next thing we're going to talk about is the impact when zeroing your rifle. With 5.56, you will have a point of aim and a point of impact. Despite the way it looks, the line from my optic to my target is not a parallel line from my barrel to my target. The barrel is pointed a tiny bit up in comparison to the optic. And what that results in is the optic line goes straight from my eye to the target, but the actual round leaves the barrel at a slightly upward trajectory and then comes back down before it begins its rapid descent towards the earth. With every rifle, that results in 2 places where your round and where you are aiming will be in the same place. With 5.56, that is usually what is used by the military is a 25 300 meter zero. So that means when they zero their rifles at 25 meters, the same place that they are aiming at 25 meters is the same place that their rifle will be, or their round will be impacting at 300 meters. So that curve from the barrel impact, or point of impact, hits 25 and then again at 300. So when you're zeroing, that is one thing that you need to keep in mind, is what distances you will be shooting at. Because anything closer than 300 but further than 25 and your rounds will impact high. Anything further than 300 or closer than 25 and your rounds will be impacting low. So when you go to zero and when you go to do your dry firing, just remember where you're shooting at versus what your zero is. So if you like to go to the range and your range is always 25 meters, zeroing at 25 meters will be perfect for you. But if you're trying to go to a range at 200 meters, you might want to think about a different zero as well as a different distance for practicing dry fire. Because remember, all dry fire is to build muscle memory. All right, so one excellent tool for dry firing and practicing and learning these fundamentals is known as dime drills. These are much better done with a partner, but if you don't have a partner, you can still do this drill, just you won't have the extra accountability of dropping the coin. What we'll do, we'll get in a good prone unsupported position, which I will demonstrate here in a second. Our partner is going to place a dime on the barrel of our rifle, not on the flash hider here at the end where it's flatter on the rounded portion of the barrel, because on the flatter portion it'll rest on its own and that's cheating. On the round portion of the barrel of your rifle, you're going to have your partner place a dime there. And then in your good prone supported position, usually you're going to want to have your rifle already off of safe, because the act of flipping it on or off safe might interfere with the drill, and that's not what we're practicing right now. However, if you're more advanced at this, flipping the rifle from safe to fire with the dime on it is also a good practice to do. But for the beginners, don't worry about that. Make sure your rifle's clear and safe, and then flip it from safe to fire. But then, once the dime is on your rifle, all you're going to do is you're going to squeeze the trigger. If you do it right, the dime should stay exactly where it is. And if you want to be even more advanced with the drill, you can take your hand, pull your charging handle until your trigger resets, and do it, get back into your good prone supported position, and fire again. I used to be good enough to do all of that without the dime moving. But this is a very perishable skill, and I have not practiced in a while, so I am no longer capable of doing that. Also, if you want even more of a challenge, get a cleaning rod and stick it in the end of your barrel and put the dime on the cleaning rod. That is even less surface area for the dime to rest on, which makes it even more unstable, which makes the whole drill even harder. And if you're going to do that, a bigger coin also makes it even more difficult. So for you really advanced people who are just trying to refresh the basics, that's a great drill to practice while you're doing it. So now I'm going to go ahead and get my good prone unsupported position and have my partner put a dime on my barrel, and we will demonstrate the dime drills. All right, so my partner has placed the dime on my barrel. I'm in a good prone supported position, or prone unsupported position. And all I'm going to do is flip my selector from safe to semi. I'm going to squeeze the trigger. Now the fact that the dime did not move is an indication of a good trigger squeeze, and that's what we're looking for. Now with my rifle in particular, the dime is resting on the barrel itself, which gives me a little bit more forgiveness than if it was on a cleaning rod sticking off the barrel. So if you are practicing this drill, for bare basic beginners with no firearm handling skills or training at all, I would first recommend you put the dime on your barrel. After you get good enough to do the dime on the barrel, that's when I would recommend you stick a cleaning rod in the barrel and practice with the dime in the cleaning or on the cleaning rod, because that is significantly more difficult. I don't think I would be able to talk and demonstrate at the same time. But that's all you're gonna do. Oh, there it goes. That's all you're gonna do. You're gonna keep the dime on your barrel and squeeze the trigger. And as you can see, resetting my trigger, that is one of the reasons a partner makes this a lot easier. You can maintain your good position and just worry about the trigger, or worry about your trigger squeeze. That's all we're focusing on, your trigger squeeze. Ideally, your trigger, when you squeeze it, there will be no movement at all. So that is it for the dime drill. Now we're going to go over a few things to consider when you go to zero your weapon. First thing we're going to talk about is the natural point of aim, as well as a couple different positions and the advantages or disadvantages while you're zeroing your weapon. With your natural point of aim, what that is every single position that you hold your rifle in, regardless of which hand it is, regardless of your standing, kneeling, whatever it is, there is a place that your body will naturally want to aim the rifle. When you are going to zero your rifle, what you want to do is you want to find that natural point of aim for the position that you're zeroing in. Most people prefer to zero their rifle in the prone supported position. Actually, come to think of it, I don't think we've actually talked about what zeroing is. So, zeroing your rifle is the act of adjusting your optic so that your point of aim and your point of impact are in the same location on the target at a known distance. So basically, it's also called sighting in your rifle. All you're doing is making sure where you put your optic or iron sight is where the bullet will go. So when you actually go to complete the process of zeroing your rifle and sighting in your rifle, one of the first things you're going to want to do is decide the distance you want to zero your rifle for, based on how you were planning to use your rifle and what you're using the rifle for. Additionally, when you go to zero your rifle, based on your use case, you want to select the ammo type that you will be using your rifle, or using in your rifle for that use case. So if you're hunting with your rifle, whatever ammo that you are hunting with is the ammo that you want to use to zero your rifle. The reason for this is different ammo types will have different flight characteristics once they leave the barrel, so their point of impact might be different, even though it's the same rifle with the same optic and nothing has changed except that ammo type. So for example, if you're going to use a 5.56 rifle and you're going to use 5.56 for whatever use case your rifle is for, but you zero with 223 Remington, the pressure difference in the cartridge will result in your point of impact being different when you load 5.56 into your rifle. Or if you're going to use 77 grain open tip match rounds for distance shooting, but you zero your rifle with 55 grain, your point of impact will be significantly different at distance from your point of aim. And regardless of because of the difference in your ammo type. So once you've selected your use case, your distance for your zero, and your ammo type, what you will then need to do is practice dry firing, and then finding your natural point of aim. Your natural point of aim can be found by getting in your position that you're going to be shooting from, and then you just close your eyes. 5 to 10 seconds is all it takes. When you open your eyes, your rifle will be pointed at your natural point of aim. So if you're in the prone supported position and you aim your rifle at your target and then you close your eyes to find your natural point of aim, you open your eyes and now your rifle is pointed to the left. You need to adjust your entire body to the right and do it again. And now, if you did it right when you open your eyes, your natural point of aim, where your rifle is now pointed, should be directly on the target. If it's too far right, just move left. But basically what you're wanting to do is find your natural point of aim so that you are not fighting your body and tiring your muscles trying to keep the rifle steady. Now, when you go to zero, there are a few positions to zero in that are advantageous and disadvantageous. English is hard, guys. Based on what you're trying to get out of your rifle. So the most stable position that you will be able to find is prone supported or resting in a bench. When you have your rifle in either of these two positions, the only thing that will influence your rifle at all is your breathing and your trigger squeeze. And we've already talked about how to manage your trigger squeeze through Dryfire. So all you got to do is gently squeeze the trigger and there should be no movement in the rifle. So how do we mitigate the breathing? Well, every time you take a breath, when you fully breathe in and you fully breathe out, there is a natural pause at the bottom of your exhale. And it is that natural pause that you want to squeeze the trigger. If you keep it consistent at that natural pause every time, your breathing will be no factor. Another thing to consider is what you're supporting the rifle on. It's not highly recommended to just rest your rifle on the ground. That's not technically supported. What you'll want to do is find like a sandbag or something that you can actually rest the rifle on that will cradle the rifle and not move. Most people, they'll use either a sandbag or some people just legitimately throw their rifle onto a bag and use a bag. Another option is prone unsupported. Now this option is great if you have no other resources. However, unless you find that, and this is prone unsupported by the way, there's nothing supporting the rifle or my arms, it's just me holding the rifle up. Now if you can find your natural point of aim and get a good stable prone unsupported position and not be talking all the time, this position is just as stable as prone unsupported. And depending on how you train, you might actually be more stable in a prone unsupported position than a prone supported position. Me personally, I find that I'm less stable when I'm trying to go down into my sights supported on a sandbag than if I'm just up here where I'm most comfortable. So, depending on your use case and your training, one might be better than the other. Another option is to fire your rifle and zero it kneeling with your rifle supported on a bench. I don't recommend zeroing your rifle any other way than the three that I've just discussed, because the less supported your rifle is, or the less supported your body is, one of the two have just the way mechanical force works. It'll be less stable and your zero will be all over the place. What you're looking for when you go to zero your weapon is as tight of a group as possible. You want all of your shots as close together as possible. Then you adjust your sight to move that group closer to the middle of the target. So the more you practice dry firing and getting into a good stable position, the easier time you'll have when you go to actually zero your rifle. All right, so once again, I'm the Big Sarge. You're watching Off the Mark, And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. These videos won't get better if we don't get feedback. So thanks for watching.
All right, everybody, now that we have gone over the basics of how to get your good natural point of aim, natural point of impact, as well as zero your rifle and dry firing, it's time to actually put all of that into practice. So today I have my rifle. I am sighting it in at about 50 yards, and we're gonna go over how to actually accomplish that now. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to decide, are you zeroing your optic or your iron sights? We're going to start with the optic, and then we're going to get a rough zero of the iron sights to match with the optic, and then we'll confirm the iron sight zero from there. With pretty much any kind of optic, you're going to have the same adjustment system as what I've got here with mine. And what that'll look like on almost every optic, you have these turret covers, which will prevent you from accidentally changing your zero. I've already removed mine for demonstration purposes and for ease of access while we're zeroing. You may want to think about doing the same when you go to zero your rifle. So first thing you're going to want to do, once you have your rifle loaded and you're ready to start zeroing your rifle, make sure your optic is on if that's what you're using, or your sights are accessible and flipped up if that's what you're using. From there, you're going to want to get into a good prone, supported or unsupported position, whichever you're more comfortable in, or a good stable kneeling position with your rifle rested on a bench. I personally prefer the prone unsupported position, as that's what I have practiced with and trained with the most, and that's where I'm the most stable. So once you get your good position, you're going to want to fire 3 rounds at your target as a check to see where you are. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So once you have your initial check on your target, you're going to want to either have somebody else go down to your target after you have made your weapon safe and place it down, or you can look through it with a scope, but you do not want to be the one looking at your target, because subconsciously what you'll want to do is adjust your point of aim to compensate. But what you want somebody else to do is tell you exactly what needs to happen, and then you just make that adjustment and go from there. So about where was I?
Okay, so first shot in the 8 ring, left hand side. Second shot, 9 ring, high. Third shot, almost on the bullseye, little bit to the right.
Okay, so it sounds like my zero is roughly where I want it to be, but my group is a little bit bigger than I want it to be. So that is an indication that I need to go back and practice dry firing and go over my fundamentals. But with my zero where I want it to be for the red dot, now I just want to fire another group, at least 3 rounds, probably more for more accuracy and consistency. Most people recommend at least 5. So 3 to 5 rounds at least to confirm my zero. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to fire 5 shots to confirm my zero.
Left target. Okay. Frankly, I think you're zeroed in already.
All right. So no adjustments needed to be made in my case for my optic, but let's talk about how you would do that if you did need to adjust your zero. If you're going to adjust your zero on your optic, you would need a flathead screwdriver or the rim of a cartridge to slot into these slots and rotate your turret. It's kind of difficult to see from a distance because it's very tiny. But all you're going to do is slot it in there and rotate it however many clicks you need to adjust it. The clicks are very fine, and sometimes you might accidentally go 3-4 clicks and not even feel it. So you got to be very careful when you do so. But the direction of the arrow and the word is indicating which direction you're changing your point of impact. So with this optic, going left will make my point of impact go up. With this one, going away from me will make my point of impact shift left. And that's how you go about zeroing your optic. So now that the optic is zeroed, I'm going to look through my iron sights that are known as absolute co-witness. So what that means is with this iron sight and optic setup, I should be able to look through my iron sights and my dot and all three be in a perfect line. So in theory, if I adjust my iron sights so that my optic and iron sights are perfectly aligned, I should be able to have the same point of impact with the iron sights or the optic. So I'm going to make that first initial adjustment, and then we'll go over confirming that adjustment. So there are a couple ways to adjust your front sight post. You can have a front sight post tool like I have here, which has a few different options. This 5-prong side is for civilian style and older AR-15 tools or front sights. This 4-prong is for military style and newer AR-15 style front sights. You can also use the tip of a cartridge. And all you're going to do, let me take my sling off. All you're going to do is you're going to push down the tab just enough that you can rotate. I was pushing on the wrong side. You're going to push down the tab and rotate your front sight, which is admittedly difficult to do with the cartridge, which is why we have the tools. So all I'm going to do is slot in my tool. Come on. Having a little bit of difficulty there. Trying not to be in the way of the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and it's making it more difficult for me to do it. All right, there we go. So now you can see it's rotating as I'm pushing down. My tool is bent. That's why I'm having so much difficulty. You can see that one prong is causing me immense trouble. I don't even know if I'm going the right way, if I'm being perfectly honest. Man, this thing is...
Is it a 5-prong instead of a 4?
No, I've got a 4-prong here. My tool's just bent, which makes slotting it in difficult. And I've got ants all over my elbows.
There we go.
All right. All right. So now we're going to go over confirming that zero with the iron sights, or show confirming the zero. So what we have done, we have made the initial adjustment so that the iron sight is in line with the dot. Mechanically, it should line up perfectly and have the exact same shot placement as we had before. I have also turned the dot off so that it is not distracting in any way, shape, or form. So now I'm going to go ahead and shoot a 5-round group with the iron sight, and we'll check it once complete.
Stop now. I can see where your target will land. Your bullets are landing.
Say again?
What?
I didn't hear what you said.
You're not even hitting the target. You're about 6 inches too high.
Too high.
Yep.
All right. All right, so too high. You're supposed to be able to use a cartridge case or tip to do this, but I've never been able to make that work. I wonder.
Go.
All right, so I was getting absolutely destroyed by these ants all over my elbows. So, oh my goodness, yeah, now that I'm looking, it's bad. All right, so we're going to continue now that I've got at least something of a barrier between myself and these ants.
Miss. Miss.
High or low?
I need to see where it landed. Do you adjust it in the right direction?
Yes. Anything?
He went about 6 inches too low that time.
Anything?
I think it went a little low.
It's low now?
Yeah.
I'm going to aim for the very top of the target. How about now? Nothing?
Nothing.
All right. So this is one of the things about zeroing that sometimes sucks, is trying to figure out where exactly you're impacting so that you can at least get it on paper and walk it in from there. Yeah. Great.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Hey, guys, I'm
Yeah.
gonna put up both of these right here,
Okay.
like this, so you guys can walk it up or down.
Okay.
All right, gonna go right for that seam.
Do it. Dead center of that target
Dead center of which target?
of the cardboard.
Dead center of the cardboard. Okay, so I'm still high.
Very high. Told you so.
All right. So
Are you sure you adjusted it in the right direction?
I did adjust it in the right direction. I was way high before.
You weren't that high.
It's actually even harder to adjust it in the right direction to go down with this bent tool. All right, go and try again. Again, going straight for that seam.
I swear to God, man. Try the other direction.
It should be going down.
Wait. You're dropping your front sight?
No, I'm adjusting it to shift down the point of impact.
Lowering your front sight, right?
No, I'm raising it.
Okay.
This is retarded. Why is my rifle so retarded?
Can we even still
By
use
the way,
the R word?
this is what real firearm ownership is like, and getting good with them is having to deal with all the stupid, crazy stuff that happens when things go wrong.
All right,
Because inevitably, things do go wrong.
we're gonna
If
try
you're not
this.
messing up in front of your friends, you're not learning.
Try again.
Okay. So you're landing about where you were the first time, dead center of the cardboard target. You're going the right direction now. Okay, now you're hitting about the top of the lower third of the cardboard target.
Okay, so I need to keep going.
Yeah, keep going. All that twisting, and you dropped about 3 inches, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Which is a very large distance.
Maybe 2.
Perfectly average.
All right, now I'm going for the target itself.
Okay. And for clarification's sake, you were set shooting for that center red diamond, right?
A-firm, center red diamond.
And you fired 3 shots?
Yep.
So on average, I think you're hitting about 2 inches high.
Still.
I know. What did you do that last time?
I adjusted it a lot of clicks up.
What brand are those iron sights?
Same as the optic.
Not good.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not cheap out on your sights.
And know what your adjustment interval is, because this would be a lot easier if I actually knew what the adjustment interval was. I don't know how far a click is. It could be a quarter MOA, could be half MOA, could be an MOA.
I think it's a quarter though.
On iron sights? Okay. Center of that group would be about an inch and a half down.
So now I went too far down?
Yeah.
Well, 1 minute. Let's go check out the target.
Yeah.
And you are coming with us. What great fun we're having. So, assuming that's your, so those 3 were the first shot.
3.
Yeah, so that
And
was
this
a
last
flyer.
group
I
was-
pulled it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to
We
come.
walked it down from here though.
Yeah.
Because I think you were originally shooting here. I think those 4
That
were
was
your
the-
original shots.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Which is crazy because I was aiming here, so that's
This one
quite
right
the
here?
distance.
Mm-hmm.
first one to land. Second one to land. Dot 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 dot.
Ah.
So,
But
yes,
this
it's
side
somewhat
to side-
frustrating, but it's a lot of fun at the same time.
And for everybody else's education, up and down, if your group is going up and down, that's your breathing. Side to side is your trigger squeeze. Both of which can be fixed with dry fire. Your trigger squeeze can always be fixed with dry fire. Your breathing is a little bit more difficult to do, but all you gotta do is find that natural pause in your breath and squeeze the trigger at that natural pause. So this side to side, this is my trigger squeeze, 100% every time. So what we're gonna do, I'm pretty sure these boxes are an MOA each.
Probably.
So I'm gonna go up 3 clicks and we'll see where that puts it. And I'm also gonna go right 3 clicks and we'll see where that puts it. Cause I think my I think my adjustment is a half MOA, because I went down 4 clicks and it went down 4 boxes.
Okay.
So I gotta figure out what the deal is with that. So I'm gonna try 3 just as a see if that works. Because sometimes the math don't actually work when you do the math and then you make the adjustment, and so you're just like, well, I'm gonna throw anything at it, and that's what works. So that's what we'll do. All right. So just like with your optic, your rear sight. Are you kidding me?
What? Is it on the top?
There is no indication left or right.
Do not cheap out on your sights.
All right.
They were a gift. I bought them for him.
Do not cheap out on your best friend's sights.
And I can't tell if this is going left or right.
Righty-tighty moves it to the right. Lefty-loosey moves it to the left.
Did you look it up?
No, I'm looking at my iron.
Okay, right moves it right.
Left moves it left.
Okay. All right, 3 clicks right.
Because I just did it with my own Tacticon irons.
Oh, jeez.
Let me put it this way. We're going to be leaving a bad review, Tacticon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is their front sight tool as well.
So, my theory is that gun channels inevitably turn into gear channels as gun tubers realize that their kit sucks and they look for something better.
Yep.
Uh-huh. All right. Going hot. My glasses are fogging up.
I can tell.
You can tell?
No,
Oh.
I can't. He can. Yeah, because I'm looking at where your bullets are landing.
It's kind of hard when they're fogged up, but
Okay, so I'm going to be generous and tell you that you're landing bullets in the sauce and not a dinner plate. I'm going to guesstimate that the center point is your right for elevation, windage, a little further to the left,
a little left.
a little left.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, like Bill Clinton left, not Joe Biden left. Once again, your elevation is shifted. You're not quite so far to the left. Say maybe about an inch to the left.
So I need to go right now.
Yeah, you need to go right.
Using the large peep or a small peep sight?
Small.
Okay.
You get a more precise zero. Actually, I should have covered that. When you're zeroing your iron sights, usually there are 2 peep sights. One is a really large circle, and one is a really small circle.
1 second. So that they can see it clearly?
Yeah.
So, show that on here. What you have is a small peep sight or a large peep sight. The large is for if you are... Explain rifles, sir.
I work for a living, but the small peep sight is for 0 to 200 meters or in times of limited visibility, such as night or if you're wearing some kind of gas mask. The large peep sight, or excuse me, the small peep sight is for zeroing as well as anything further than 200 meters. Regardless of which distance you're actually firing at, though, the small peep sight will give you a much smaller margin for error where the large peep sight, it'll be faster to use and acquire your target, but your accuracy is not going to be quite the same. So when you're zeroing, you want to use the smaller aperture for your rear sight. Honestly, I don't know what the hell the deal is with my zero and my iron sights. These iron sights are, with the lack of any indication for which direction is which,
Yeah.
they're kind of garbage. I am not going to leave a very good review on Tacticon's sight. Oh, geez, actually my rear sight just broke.
It's broken?
Oh yeah.
That would explain why it's not got a good zero.
Yeah, my rear sight is broken. So, yeah, because I can't.
I'm leaving that in.
Yeah, so this is why you don't cheap out on your gear, guys, because mine is now broken and I can't take it off without an Allen key. So
The front sight's probably dialed in now.
the front sight's probably dialed in, yeah. The rear sight is probably not. But yeah, so, you know, sometimes we have bloopers. This is,
Not a blooper.
I mean, technically for the purpose of the video it is, but in terms of what we're out here to accomplish, this is why you sometimes, when equipment is cheap, or I should say inexpensive, it is also cheap, and you don't want cheap equipment when your life depends on it. You want reliable equipment. That's why most of the time people recommend companies like BCM, Aero Precision, at the very least, with a duty grade rifle that you can put your life on, which usually are going to run you at least $1,000 just for the rifle. So things like this are the reason why, or things like your bolt failing at 700 rounds, which I have also experienced with this very rifle. That's why when you get your rifle, you want to make sure that it is a high quality, dependable rifle that you can trust. All right, that's all I had for the actual zeroing portion.